Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to Compass Games Live. It's episode 82. It's the 13th of October. As many of you seem to know already, the NHL season's in full swing. I should have been wearing my Dallas Stars jersey as a proper fan, but yeah, they're playing in Nashville in about 30 minutes. First game of the season. I do not have high hopes for the Stars, by the way, not with the salary cap situation with Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. Too much money tied up to some of our aging players, which isn't a good situation. But we love NHL, so we're going to watch NHL for the next few months and see what happens. So thanks for joining us again very much. As always, I want to focus today, Compass Games Live. We're going to talk about a few different topics. First, I want to get you caught up on the website. So there's been no change to our schedule since our town hall session. So American Tank Ace remains the most recent release, in other words. But it's been great to see all the comments on our on Facebook's other social media sites, but obviously our Compass Games enthusiast page is probably the most active single location that I can find that really focuses on new releases. And definitely American Tank Ace is getting a lot of attention for sure. And I want to also thank Gimpy Gamer. I believe Gimpy's on right now watching live. And Gimpy, want to thank you. I know there's a few videos out there, but it's always great to have videos out right when a new release comes out. Just the timing's really good. I know Mo does that quite a bit with his Learn to Play series. And Gimpy here, so if you visit the Gimpy Gamer channel, he did a really nice preview of Sniper Kill Confirmed. And I just want to talk about that a little bit because that is our current Kickstarter campaign that's currently taking place. So just as an update, if we turn our attention to our newsletter, our latest update that went out earlier today, it's all about Sniper Kill Confirmed. So this is the new solitaire game by Jay Kirkpatrick. And again, great to have Gimpy Gamer. And then there's also an interview that was recently conducted that's actually part of this Kickstarter page as well, which you can see right here. So we've got 84 backers for Sniper Kill Confirmed. As always, when you scroll down, you're not only going to see all the components for the game, but if you scroll down near the bottom, like I'm going to do now, it's a good way for you to check out the rule booklet. So you can just click on the image of the rules, and it'll bring you up to the rule booklet to give you an idea about the game, to give you a better idea about Jay's design. And my understanding is Jay's looking to perhaps expand this series out to other topics. I hope he does. I think that'd be wonderful to see that. But yeah, I just want to make sure everybody was aware of Sniper Kill Confirmed is now live on Kickstarter. I believe it's got at least 8 more days to go. So plenty of time to get in there to make your pledge. Watch the video of the unboxing by Julian Thomas. In other news, we have to get caught up on pre-orders because I don't know how many of you, and I'll just sort of flip my view here. Yeah, I got this today. So I got the Compass Games catalog today. I saw a lot of comments on the stream that you did receive this in the last day or two. Some are still waiting for it. But because of the catalog here that I'm holding, that's why we need to get all these pre-orders on our website. So to do that, we had to really do catch up. And there was quite a few pre-orders we just did in our most recent Compass Games Live episode. We did a total of 4. So we did Desert Blitzkrieg, which is a strategic level, pretty straightforward game but a lot of more decision making goes on in that game than, say, the African campaign. But very high strategic level, fairly simple to play. So Desert Blitzkrieg is a new pre-order. And again, these are all pay laters. You don't have to, there's no option to pay now. These are all pay later options. Next, we have Gilbert Collins, who's doing the Kaiser's High Seas Fleet. Gilbert also just signed up in the last 48 hours for Compass Games Expo. So Gilbert's going to be at Compass Games Expo. He'll be talking about these games at the expo as well. So we're excited to have Gilbert Collins there. This is a World War I game. So think of it as War at Sea, but World War I with some extra chrome added to the game system. Next, we have Grant, the Western Campaign of 1862. Now, this is a John Southard design. So I know a lot of you really like the work of John Southard. He did a lot of work back in the 80s, Victory Games, West End Games. Actually, Grant was one of the games he did. Grant Moves South was a game that I think appeared in Wargamer, if I'm not mistaken. Or actually, it was Jack Green's publishing house where it appeared. It was a Quarter Deck Games box game, Grant Moves South. And this is a brand new edition. So this isn't really, I wouldn't even call it a remake, to be honest, because even the game map's completely different. It's a point-to-point map. and everything else has changed too. But it's a John Souther design, so we're really excited about that. So definitely check out that. Was one of our recent pre-orders, which of course you're going to find in the catalog. And then to mix things up a little bit, we're getting some more science fiction titles into the mix. This is a purely solitaire design focus game called Galaxy Force, Battles of the Fallen Stars. And it's by a new designer in Germany. He also did all the artwork, did a fantastic job. We've done over a year and a half of play testing. Everybody loves the game and the system, so we're really excited about it. And we'll do a future interview with Stefan Beck, who's the designer artist for the game. But we're really pleased to have all these pre-orders. So basically, from the catalog that I just showed you here earlier, the only one I have to go through the catalog to make sure, but the only pre-order that I think we still need to add is Road to the Rhine. So that's a GDW remake, pretty much of a reprint with minor variations. So Road to the Rhine, I need to get on the website. That will be the last game I think we're going to need to add to get caught up with the catalog. And I'll be looking to do that over the course of the next 48, 72 hours. So that's the most recent pre-orders we've had. Again, we've had a lot of other pre-order games as well. As you can see from the newsletter that we advertise here, we're still catching up on all the new pre-orders we've announced in the last 4 to 6 weeks. Here's some more of them right here. And then American Tank Ace obviously is now shipping. So a lot of people have received that game. So it's great to see. Facebook enthusiast page has tons of replays, questions. Greg's done a great job of support for American Tank Ace. We've also got the latest rules clarification sheet. We just posted it for the first time to the product page for American Tank Ace. So I would definitely recommend go over to the American Tank Ace product page and go to the downloads section, and you'll see a new clarification sheet, 2 pages long, that's going to help you with the game. Not really many corrections that I could see, maybe 1 or 2. It was all pretty much clarifications because there's so many variations of situations that can happen in the game. So a few questions have come up about the game. Upcoming releases, we've already completed the Kickstarters for both of these games. So obviously they're next in the queue. So next up is Schnellboats, followed by Mori, Warriors of the Long White Cloud. So Schnellboats, again, is the follow-up game to Devil's Boat by Joe Carter, and Mori is by Kevin McPartlin, and he's going to be also at Compass Games Expo here in a few weeks. So mentioning Compass Games Expo, we did things a little different here. We want to actually focus in on one of the many special events taking place, or in this case, rather, one of the personalities that will be there. So Gregory Smith's going to be at Compass Games Expo, and we're just doing a bit of a coverage on about 7 or 8 different titles that he's going to be covering, hosting gameplay of. Some are published games, some are games in playtest mode. He does a lot of playtests as well, brings a lot of T-shirts to those that participate as well, which is a great little touch he adds. And Greg's going to be very busy. But as you can see from this image here, somebody's going to take the, probably sword's the wrong word, whatever you would call the weapon, but somebody's going to take that home. It says Compass Con 2022 on it, as you can see. And the winner of the tournament is going to be actually taking that home with them. So really cool prize to the winner that Greg's arranged for his Blood and Sand game, his Gladiator Warfare game. So just wanted to mention that. Of course, we're live now with our session. We do have special guests tonight, so I'm excited about that. Be sure to check out our most recent town hall from last week. Now, I'm not sure about my, for next week, I have to check with Bill Thomas. It turns out I'm going to be actually not available Thursday night. So I'm going to see if we can do a different night. Hopefully Friday might work. So next Thursday I'm going to be out, but I'll check with Bill Thomas about our scheduled town hall for next week, or if I can get a pinch hitter to cover for me, that would be awesome too. We do have, well, actually to help us here with the Vassal, I'm going to bring Mo in to the discussions here. How you doing, Mo?
Doing good. How are you doing, John?
Good, thanks. So let's get caught up on what's happened with Vassal lately. I know the last newsletter we had 4 new Vassal module releases, so there's been a ton of movement with Vassal, but I believe we had 1 release as we advertised here in this newsletter.
Barbarians at the Gates is just released, so that one I think will make everybody happy because that's finally passed its embargo period, and everybody will be able to play that. We did a learn to play for that, so now you'll be able to put lessons learned from that into the Vassal module, as well as any of the time you've played on, hands-on. If you've not played hands-on, you can play the Vassal with anyone you want to play around the world.
I think there's been at least 20 to 25 Vassal modules released since you came on board to help us with that effort.
Maybe I'm not sure. I'd have to check to get the exact number, but that
been
sounds
a lot.
Probably about right. Yeah.
So let me go back here because we did redesign the website a little bit, and we've got the new resources section. So I want to go to the learning library so you could give everybody a quick update what's happening behind the scenes with the learning library. I think we're up to episode number 16, which
16.
covers American tank case, as you can see here on the right.
Yeah, and it's done real well. There are 2 others already already done. They are recorded, I should say, not done. One is going to be, I think, it's going to make everybody happy. We're going to finish out the Enemy Action Kharkov series with the German Solitaire. John Butterfield and I sat down and did that, and that will be released probably next month. But I'm working on getting the next one ready for release this month. And I think, hey, thanks, Ian. I appreciate that. I think everyone will be happy with this next LTP as well, because
Yeah,
I think it's going to spur everyone's interest a little bit more on the game.
that's awesome. And then I wanted to mention and share with you while you're online, because I know you're actually going to be at Compass Games Expo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I'll be at Expo again this year, so I'm looking forward to that. How many are we up to now?
That's awesome. So just to let everybody know, we hit our century mark. So we also added a lot more special events, which I know it's hard to read based on the view here. So I'll go bigger, but we've added a bunch more special events. I think we've added another 6 to 8. We sent out a survey earlier this week to all attendees who have registered by email to basically help us understand, for all the designers that are going to be available for seminars, 30-minute sessions, what sessions would you most like to see scheduled? Because we're going to have limited availability. We're not going to be able to schedule everybody, I don't think. So we got a great response. I think we got about 50% of those we emailed responded already with seminars, designer-led seminars they'd like to see, which will be scheduled for a half hour. But the attendee roster has gone over the century mark. So we're now officially we're at 101. Which is great. And as you can see here, we've got pretty much everybody's email address is in here. We have to get consent to do that. But the reason we ask for consent is so you can email others that might have a similar gaming interest as yourself. And that's all controlled. And this is up to the date as well. So here we have our Compass Games sign-up sheet for Expo. So the way it works is you'll give a first choice, second choice, third choice, and any alternatives. And then if we see more than one person interested in a game, you'll see we've got color bands in here. If it's a first choice that has a match, we'll give it a blue color. But if it's just across the board, just like, for example, the African campaign by John Edwards, Victor Harpley had it in his first slot. Tony had it as his third choice, but then we had 3 other people had it as an alternative. So this is a chance for Victor or Tony or the others to email each other in advance to say, hey, I saw you're interested in this game. Do you want to try to schedule a day to give it a shot? So that's the whole point of the sign-up sheet, which it's gotten quite long. So, and then are you in here, Mo? I don't know if you're in here have you signed up yet for any games?
I have not signed up for any games. I generally am really bad at trying to schedule anything, because I've found in the past that when you try to schedule things, there's always something runs over another. So I just kind of go on the fly. Although I'm looking forward to definitely sitting down with Greg and working on some of his games, which we've already played. Gladiator game, especially. We're looking forward to doing some more playtesting.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of drop-in game opportunities. So Greg for sure, but then there's others as well that are going to be doing drop-in gaming opportunities. So, so for those that have a chance to maybe travel out to Connecticut in next month, not far from now, a few weeks, definitely check out the Expo site for more details. And we'll catch up with Mo at Compass Expo as well, obviously. But yeah, thanks for the merchandise. Don't want to forget that. But let's go. Just remind everybody on the website again. So let me share the screen one last time. If you go, there's a new link called Merch. And if you click on that, it's going to launch a new browser tab for you. And it will take you to all the various Compass merchandise, which Mo has graciously helped create. So taking our artwork, so lots of different shirt designs. I've seen some mugs and other things. I know people have definitely ordered and taken advantage of the merchandise here, including the Billy hoodie, which started it all, right? Which is here. So we got the Billy hoodie here, which everybody loves. I saw somebody had bought it.
So yeah, a few people have bought it and put it on the enthusiast page too. So it's great seeing those orders coming in.
Have you received any ideas or feedback of what people would like to see on the merch store for other ideas?
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot of crazy ideas, some good ideas. Some of them we can't do because we're limited to what the store is capable of doing right now. But I'm looking at alternatives, but we're going to have to see if any of those things can happen. Right now, we can't do anything further than what we've done. It can probably change up some things. And if anybody does have any ideas for different shirts or hoodies, things like that, let me know.
All right, great. Well, thanks for all the work you did on that. And I was going to ask you any games you've been playing, had a chance to play in a while, or actually you've got some game projects you're helping us on. So I don't know if playing qualifies, but maybe you can give mention of what you're working on, because I think you want to do a call for play testers tonight.
Yeah, if anybody wants to do a playtest on Man of War, which is an Age of Sail game, let me know. Message me on the Discord, or you can just contact us through Compass. You can email John. You can message me on the enthusiast groups, anything like that, because we want to get some more testing, or get some testing, I should say. We've got a Vassal module created for it. This way we can get out for a round of blind testing, find out if there's anything in the rules that needs to be massaged a little bit or changed, corrected, anything like that. So it's a real important part of the development process to get that blind testing in there. So that way we can catch things before we pass it off to go in the print queue.
There you go. And then David White on Facebook, who helps run the enthusiast group. You've got the hoodie and shirt already. Vex FE on YouTube. Thanks for joining us again, Vex. I think he just missed his first episode for the first time a week or two ago. He had some kind of a horror flick he caught. So I just asked him a question how the horror movie was, because my 15-year-old son loves horror movies as well. So I need to get advice from him. But he says you need a special hat, it looks like.
Yeah, well,
Compass,
he's always
Compass Dice with pips for the logo.
Yeah, Vex is always picking on me because I always wear my hat. And then the first time he see me with my hat off, he's like, "You actually do have hair." He thought I was bald the whole time.
There you go. And then Eric's asking, will there be games on sale the day of the expo? So if you mean on site,
there'll be games for sale. 1 or 2 games may be for sale at that.
Yeah.
Just one.
So actually, I got to show this, I guess. So this is such a good question that's been teed up. So I probably need to go here. So let me find really quickly the expo site again. So let me just share my screen just for a moment here. So great question, Eric, who's joined us on YouTube. So if we go to the expo page, this will help give you an idea about at least what last year was like. So we've got a link to our photo gallery here. And yeah, we can go right into it. So games for sale. So here's some different shots. So this is the Compass store right here. So basically, I think the general rule of thumb, unless it's a brand new release in the last 30, 45 days, maybe, everything's 50% off pretty much. So this is just part of the room that has all the products. So I know there's more pictures of it. Here's another one. There's the magazines on the left. Yeah, a bunch. We had so many tables. I don't know how we fit everything, like even this year, how it's all going to fit. There's the magazines again, where we take orders, and shirts. Greg's shirts are there. Gregory Smith's shirts that he does every year are there as well. But yeah, we got some pics here of the various games, but they're all going to be half off. But again, tons of pictures there, as you can see. So I think we answered the question. Yeah, we basically have
one of the games up there, World War II Commander, Battle of the Bulge, that you were showing. Someone was looking at the back of the box on that. That is, if everything goes well, that will be the Learn to Play in December.
So great. Okay, great. Okay, that's a great
match
timing.
It up with the Bulge itself. So
that's when I've been meaning to play with my son, because he's 15, and it'd be a good introductory game for him and for the battle. So that's awesome. Yeah. So again, great question there about our games going to be for sale. Yes, throughout the expo, we'll have our store open. Also, I talked one thing we're working on, Mo, before I let you go, is we're going to try to see if we can actually air live Compass Town Hall on Thursday night during the expo. So those pictures I just showed of the Compass store, we're going to try to see if we can commandeer that space Thursday night and set up a shoot where we can broadcast live on site. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask some attendees. Hopefully we can pull them away from the tables, the gaming tables, for maybe 2-3 minutes at a time, and maybe have them share what they're playing at Expo, which will actually be like the second full day of the Expo. We start early Wednesday afternoon now, but it'll be like the first full night, Thursday night. So it'll be interesting to see what people are doing. So hopefully it'll work out. I know we'll work on the plans for Compass Games Live. Hopefully we can put our plans together.
Yeah, we'll be doing that. And then also, speaking of game projects, next one up is one of Masahiro's games for Motherland. So that should be another interesting project to work on.
Exactly. So for Man of War, everybody, so just a call to action. If you'd like to help do a play test, a Vassal play test, Man of War is a pretty straightforward game. It's not overly complex. Yeah, it has a few pages of rules, and that's the point of play testing. We want to make sure, even though the game's been done already, the rules have been updated. We want to make sure it flows much more smoothly. So if you want to sign up for Man of War, just email me at john@compassgames.com, and I'll get you in touch with Mo. And Mo's going to help handle the play test for Man of War. So we'll be excited to have you join that effort with Mo, and it'll be a boxed release, which will be nice as well. So we're looking forward to that. All right, Mo, anything I've missed before I
No.
let you go?
Nah, I think you got
hockey. You're going to be calling some hockey games pretty soon as a broadcaster, I think, again this season.
Yeah, we start off at the end of the month, so it should be interesting. It'll be not only it'll be streaming online, but we're also actually going to be on DFW on 33 CW 33 here in Dallas. So it should be interesting.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again, Mo, for joining us. So we'll catch up with you, and if I don't see you before Expo, I'll see you there.
Yep, see you
in
there.
A few weeks. Take care, Mo.
Take care.
Bye bye. All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to have Mo on. So thanks so much for all he does for Compass Games. Again, all the Vassal modules from the past few months, tons of them, and then the merch store, and now helping with game projects as well. So it's just been a pleasure working with Mo, and he's done so much. So without further ado, I want to get to our also our VIP special guest for this evening. So let me just get everything sort of teed up for this so we can talk about a game, of course, is what we're going to do. And our special guest, I'll go ahead and introduce him now, is Vance von Boris is joining us tonight. So Vance, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I love your game room, by the way. I think you were doing play testing earlier today, and I see you've got some maps set up there.
All right, it's all built for you, John. Just come on down and visit us sometime.
That's awesome. And then if people were going to visit you, I think you're down in Kentucky somewhere where the Kentucky Derby's held, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. Come on Derby weekend.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So what I wanted to do with you tonight was first, I have to say, everybody at Consum World Expo over the years, and this happened a lot this past year because we had a huge return. We had a huge tour de force of people returning from overseas for the first time post-COVID. We had 240 people. It was amazing turnout. Everybody's going like, is Vance going to come back for like East Front Series? Everybody misses you because you made the earlier years, and
really wish I could.
Yeah, we all wish you could be there. We understand, you need to be at home and all that. So we totally understand that aspect, but your name comes up a lot. And we have a lot of veterans, and they're like, I wish Vance could be down here again, helping us do East Front Series or something. But we all miss you down there in Arizona. But
you're doing the East Front Series.
Yeah, exactly. They're still playing East Front Series, and I know you're working on projects for it as well. But what I want to share with everybody today, and the reason I want to mainly have you on tonight, and again, just a fair warning, we have some people here that might not be too shy. They might have some designer questions for you about what we're going to talk about. So what I want to do was really go through the history. So I really want to do more than just talk about this project, but I can actually pull up here what the original game was, which is right here. So here we have the original cover of Remember the Maine, which you designed. I think what year was it? 1982, maybe?
Oh God, I don't remember. Maybe 85, maybe.
Okay,
isn't
that
thing about 80s. That cover? The cover. A friend of mine here had one of these picture books about the Spanish-American War. It's sort of a period piece, and that's actually the rear of I think it's the New York, the armored cruiser New York. So the cover there, it looks like it's the front, meaning the bow, but no, it's really the rear.
All right, that's the rear, huh? Okay, that's not the rear of the boat. I never realized that was the rear of the boat. So I see here it says 1986 according to the Board Game Geek database. So
okay.
So how did this design? I got to ask you. So let's go back to the original. Back in the 80s, you're designing a lot of North Africa games. I'm hooked on your 3W. I think Decision Castrine was already out. I think that was one of your earlier.
You got to break it. You just got to do something else. And Jack Green actually was the one who encouraged me to get on this idea, and I went with it.
Yeah.
And I thought S&T was the best place for it. So here we are.
So it's been, fast forward from 1986, about 36 years.
Oh, John, you have to add it up.
I'm embarrassed. There's so many games I haven't played that were released in the 80s that I haven't never touched. I don't know if I'm ever going to play them, but let's do this. Let's give everybody, well, here we got some comments already coming through here. So just to share with you, JBX on YouTube, best war game of all time, Castrine. That's also one of my top 5. So Decision at Castrine, Vance, is one of my personal top 5 games. I've told people this. So it's pretty well known.
I got into that really deep. I went to archival sources on that. I really got into that.
Yeah. And then Forgotten Legions, of course, which was actually 2 games in one.
2 games in one. It plays so smooth. That thing is so perfect. It's not funny.
Yeah, that was Bloody Karen. And what's the other one? I'm losing track.
Drive on Damascus.
Yep, Damascus and Bloody Karen. So
Oh,
yeah, that's awesome. So and then Air Assault on Crete here. We've got Vince Ray on YouTube saying, "Hey, I mean, your body of work is so." That's what sort of surprises me in a
that
way that
game
there's a,
actually brought a lot of people into the hobby.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
did. It did. I've been told that a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, yeah. That's huge. That's a huge landmark game by Avalon Hill. People are still
Uh-huh.
playing it. I still see it played. People posting pictures of it. It's amazing. So and then
And
we'll
we
get to some we'll
pay
get
for that.
to
And
yeah,
we
we'll
made,
get to more questions. We'll
yeah.
definitely get to these questions. But yeah, everybody thumbs up on Air Assault on Crete. So everybody and then as you know, our very own Bill Thomas, this is one of his favorite all-time games is Remember the Maine. So he was so excited that you would be willing to do a new edition of this game. So what I thought we could do is, could you sort of walk people through the decision process of, was this going to be a straight reprint with no rule changes, or how you approach this new edition to let everybody know what you were
With
thinking?
all these games that have come out in the 80s and before, those rules have to be rewritten. There's so many little catches in there that, oh yeah, what about this thing? What about this other?
Rules clarifications.
Yeah, and some people said, oh yeah, that hole is so big you can drive a truck through it.
Well, no,
Yeah,
so that okay. So first things first. So that's a good point you made, because our default stance on any game we redo is at the very least we're going to work in any errata or clarifications into the original game, but that's not changing the game necessarily. That's just adding all the
no,
rules questions on things that have come up through the years. But I think you went one step further with Remember the Maine. You decided, I think, to enhance the game and add some things to it, maybe optional rules, scenarios, battle
Ju-
board, things like that.
exactly. The original game was in the magazine, and magazine format limits you. It was limited to
Yeah.
200 counters and one map sheet. But this is a big topic. This is the whole war, the
Yeah.
whole Spanish-American War. Now, originally it was just the Atlantic, Caribbean, and all that. Uh, but with the new version, I thought, well, some people commented, what happened to the Philippines? Well, I will have a scenario in there for the Philippines. It's just the naval, and it's sort of the learning scenario. It's how to learn to sink an enemy fleet in about 1 hour.
I was going to say, for Philippines at that scale, land doesn't really work, does it? For Philippines?
No, we're not doing the land. That
Yeah.
that was just kind of a big gentleman's agreement.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And then let me do this. What I want to do is, as you're talking about the game, it's a great time to show the components as well. So you've been working with Bruce Urian, one of our in-house artists, and here's the strategic map. Let me make sure it fits all the way. So I know it's quite big. So here's the full strategic map that we have. And then I think if I I'm going to zoom in, obviously, because
Sure.
if I zoom in, I think near the bottom edge here, it looks like we have a battle board.
Exactly. We did
Right
not
here,
have
right?
the original game, but we have it here. It's just
Right
so
here.
we can get things straight, so that people know what to do.
Right. So that's new. That wasn't in the magazine game, was it?
No,
The battle
there
board?
wasn't room for it.
There wasn't room for it. Right. Okay. So that's so I just wanted to point out the battle board. So that's an example where you took your original design, and with a bigger footprint, we were able, full size map plus other maps, which
Yeah.
I'll show here in a moment. You were able to add it to the strategic map.
Let me add on the strategic map. It's identical except for I added a zone around the American East Coast and added one port, Jacksonville, because that's where a whole corps of American ground troops assembled, and they were going to move from there against Havana.
Oh, right here. Okay. So
Yeah.
you added Jacksonville. Okay.
I added Jacksonville.
Okay. Great. All right. So there's a little enhancement there as well. Yeah. So this is yeah, no, this is great. This is a 22 by 34-inch map, if I'm not mistaken, I believe here. So here's a full map. Obviously, it's in portrait mode. I could make it landscape, but that's a strategic map. And now we have 4 separate land area maps. So let's start with Havana. Is there anything in particular about Havana? Or I don't know if you want to talk about any strat. I don't want to get into strategy. We won't have time for that. But is there anything specific about this particular theater of the war or battle worth mentioning around Havana at all?
Well, some planners figured that you had to land it at the capital and take the capital in order to win the war. So, let's land at Havana and take it. All these tactical maps have seen a scale change. So I've blown it up a little bit to get a little more detail. Here, I got a lot more. I was actually able to find the Western Trocha which was sort of a barrier, which is over in the western part of that map on your far left. But the big thing about this, you'll notice that we also have the boundaries for the Havana garrison. There was a
okay.
garrison that was distinct from the mobile troops that were outside the garrison area. What really helped on this was the research, and the research gave me the actual order of battle.
Oh,
We
wow.
were guessing beforehand when I was doing that back in the 80s. But here, because of the wonders of the internet, I was actually able to track down the Spanish order of battle. Now, Dennis Bishop helped out a lot on that, and sadly, he's passed away.
Yes,
But
yes.
I think that was the last project that he worked on.
Yeah, no, that's great. I read your designer notes earlier today, and you talked about there was quite a bit of research that had come into your hands since the 80s, since you did the original, that had an impact on this new edition as well. So, all righty. Well, that's the Havana map. Let's move on to Santiago. Here's the Santiago map. Anything in particularly to note about Santiago that you want to share?
Well, it's a new look at the terrain. The scale is substantially the same, but there are some little differences. Well, we do have the Iscario column coming in, but there could be another reinforcement group from another part of Cuba that could come in.
Okay.
Really, this map, this is the tactical map. This is where the whole thing happened. So you have San Juan Hill, you have the little creeks and everything. You have Daiquiri over to the side where they landed. So you can play it out just historically. There are other games out there that attempt to cover this, but really, this summarizes it. It summarizes it succinctly, and you can play it fairly quick.
Oh, great. Well, and then this one I can't pronounce.
Cienfuegos.
Cienfuegos. Thank you. I can't even try to do that. But yeah, no, here we go. This one. So here's a third of the four. There's 4 maps.
Well, if the
Americans
landed in Santiago, they would have landed here. They're tracking down the Spanish fleet. And so where did the Spanish go? They went to Santiago. They could have come here. They discussed going to this place. So they could have gone there. Well, why not have a map on it?
Yeah, for the variant, for the what if of what could have been, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, we're looking at this whole thing strategically, John.
Exactly. That makes total sense. And then the last map
is Puerto Rico.
There you go. Puerto Rico in the house. There's San Juan up there.
Yeah. And we landed. This was an actual campaign. As far as I can tell, it's probably the only military campaign that ever took place on Puerto Rico. other than some pirate raids, this is it. And we landed on the south coast, and the war ended before we could close into Santiago.
That's great.
San Juan.
Yep, and a few comments came in. Vince mentions he really likes the map style, which was done by Bruce Arian with obviously with Vance's guidance on that. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, the game cover really is evocative. Really like the game cover, and it's not the back of a boat this time,
No.
like the cover, like the S&T cover. iManatee on YouTube says he's already in love with the game. So yeah, and this is as I've mentioned numerous times already. This is just has Bill Thomas salivating. He's really excited about this title. It's a game he loved as a kid. So let's talk about some of the ships. Let's get right to the fun part. So here's there's 2 ship sheet counters. So let's zoom in here to give him some color commentary. Maybe you can explain if you want. If you want to go there, you don't have to, but maybe about the ship's values. What do the values mean on here? I see we have a box number with a 3 in it.
At the Columbia right there, cruiser, U.S. cruiser. It has 2 long-range guns, 2 short-range, a 3 armor protection value or hull protection value, and a 7 tactical movement allowance. This is a quick ship. Also, up above, the 3 up there means that it has a strategic movement allowance of 3. So when you're firing your guns, you're going to fire your long-range guns, and then you're going to fire your short-range guns that are resolved on different tables, and you're firing against the opponent's hull protection value. So in this case, if the
okay.
Spanish were shooting at the Columbia, they'd be firing at the 3.
Right,
So
right.
you have let's say you have a 4 value firing at the 3.
Yep.
So you have 1 point of advantage against the Columbia. So you're working in the armor protection value of the ship, and so your die roll then goes on top of that, and then we go to a table, and that resolves the whole situation right there. We're not shooting this one gun at a time. We're
Right.
trying
Is that where the battle board comes into play?
That's where the battle board comes in. When you're on the battle board, you're opposite the Columbia. You shoot at the Columbia, or you can shoot at a ship that's diagonal to that.
Okay, we had a quick question here. Going back to if you don't mind, I want to go back to the Philippines map. We were showing. Alan on YouTube has a question for you. Can you describe at a high level what the Philippines scenario is basically about? What's being
learning scenario. The Spanish are sitting there semi-immobile, and we spend you'd spend about an hour game time reducing the Spanish fleet to rubble, but the Spanish do shoot back, and maybe they're going to hit the Olympia. And if they do that, that's our prime ship. The Olympia's on there someplace, John, sort of in the middle, kind of down.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just zooming out, but yeah, we've got a lot of. Obviously, we've got some,
and we still have the Olympia.
Yeah,
barely.
Yeah. And then we have some leader counters here. Looks like we got Chester and Howell off here to the side.
We're in squadron commanders, because you, in order to move across the board, you need to put your main ships into a squadron. And who's going to run the squadron? Well, of course, our big admirals.
Right. And then I think we're making a change here. We were talking earlier today about events, and we were going to introduce the concept of event cards.
Cards, but you were talking maybe that we'll keep both methods. I'm not sure. We'll figure that one out.
Yeah, well, we can do however you want. So you can do a chit pool since the counter's already there. But I spoke with Bill earlier today, and he said if you want to do actual game cards with the random events on them, I read the descriptions, and I think it could be very evocative that having the historical event with the picture and all that. So I think event cards will be the way to go. But since we got the counters laid out, maybe somebody wants an option to go with a lighter version without game cards. But yeah, I think the game cards will definitely be a step up.
Plus some more.
Yep. And then there's another map here. So let me just go back here and second game map. We can scroll here. It's a half counter sheet rather. So the Spanish, right?
It's the Spanish fleet.
So there's the Spanish fleet right there for everybody. Now there's also ground units, of course. It's land warfare as well as it's the ground as well as the naval.
On these counters, he gave us that pajama look.
I like the stripes on it, by the way.
Exactly.
I like that look. I think that really is nice. It's sort of a nice effect on the counters. And then is this standard ground unit information, attack, strength, defense, movement, some kind of I don't know if that's a moral rating or what what these other numbers mean.
So E-rated troops, B-rated, or C-rated. I did that in the original game, and here we are again.
Oh, gotcha.
And the little number over to the left, that's its stacking value.
Stacking value. So we got stacking value on the left, the unit rating on the right, and then what? Attack, defense, movement.
Exactly.
There we go. Pretty straightforward. And then perfect. I like the look of the counters though. They're nice.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some markers at the bottom for damage. Here's back side of counter sheet 1 back. These are a little smaller size counters than the other ones. Naval counters are a little bigger, but we can see we've got some game markers on the back side as well. So lots of eye candy. Can you explain what this is? So this is the status card.
Your ship is there in line, pounding away at your opponent. You may be taking some hits, so you just start checking off the boxes. All naval games do this sort of thing. And when you hit the yellow zone, then you lose some abilities. And when you hit the red zone, well, you're about ready to sink. So you better watch out. But yeah, you lose a little bit more ability there on the red boxes.
Okay, I'll talk to Bill because this might serve well as a laminated. We've done recently, where you have to record and do checkoffs. We've actually created laminated sheets with the dry erase markers in the box. So maybe we've got obviously the Spanish and the U.S. Naval status cards. Maybe we'll do this as laminated so you can just mark off what's happening. So seems like this would be appropriate for that treatment. But there's that. And then the last thing is we got a lot of scenarios, right? I don't know. Did you add more? Did you add-
Look, the original game was only one scenario. It was a
Oh my
campaign.
gosh, this is a huge difference. So the original game, I didn't realize the original game only had one scenario. We got a lot of scenarios now.
So, all this divides very nicely in a whole bunch of different scenarios. I mean, it's certainly a scenario for each of the landings places there on the islands. That'd be your land troops. And then for the naval, I have 6 separate naval scenarios.
Oh my, holy smoke. Yep, it's all in here.
Exactly.
Scenario 8. There's a lot of scenario 10. There's a lot of scenarios.
10 scenarios plus the campaign game.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Yep. So we've gone from 1 to 10. That's awesome. That's great.
Exactly.
So, okay, that's all the scenario cards we have right there. So that's, we can see here, this one actually has combined for both players. This has the first 4 scenarios. So these are smaller engagements, I'm assuming, right?
Look, most people will get the game because they wanted to set up their naval miniatures. So here we are. Here we have 2 historical scenarios, and then we have 4 possible scenarios, that ones that were actually discussed by the participants, and they even knew the ships that would participate. So here we are.
That's awesome. So I'm going to make sure. Okay, so I got to wrap my head around this. So this is definitely, you've got a lot of enhancements in this game. So yes, limited footprint in a magazine, so you could add the battle board. You could only have 1 map sheet. This one, we just went through the strategic full-size map and the 4 smaller size tactical maps. So those are all, that's all addition. The counter sheet sizes are bigger, nicer looking counters. More scenarios from 1 to 10. And I guess the random historical events, are those considered new, or did you have those?
Well, again, the original game had them, but I have more now.
Yeah, more now because of the research and all that, probably.
Research.
And then the updated order of battle research that you mentioned, even the map in certain areas, like you did with the strategic map, adding additional. So I guess across the board, is there any particular mechanics you decided to, how do I say this? So you've made a lot of changes through research, just getting stuff to fit. Were there any mechanical refinements?
It was my description I gave you a few minutes ago about how ships are firing at each other.
Oh, how ships are firing at each other. Okay.
Right. Beforehand, I had one table, but this time I rethought the whole process. So you're really firing against the other ship's armor protection factor.
Yep. And then
which is really what you're firing against.
Stretch goal miniatures, Daniel says. That's not a bad idea.
Oh, I'd love to put little metal miniatures in there, but that's probably beyond anyone's budget.
I may have missed this in the images we were looking at. Are there big coastal batteries?
Big guns. Those big guns are coast batteries.
Yep, got those covered. Yep, absolutely. Mo says thumbs. Mo was just joining us earlier. He says thumbs up on that. So Vince
is worth here.
Yeah, this is not your World War II typical Eastern Front game or whatever you want to, battle the bulge or whatever we're talking about. This is definitely different, unique, compelling situation. But yeah, it's got a lot of flavor to it. So small. So JBX on YouTube says he loves how you added from 1 to 10 scenarios, all these smaller scenarios, which goes well to the miniatures idea you had. And
I try to put in very small scenarios so you can do this on your little table, or do it in the afternoon, or just go wild and do the whole big campaign.
Alan's joining us on YouTube, and he's wondering, what's the play balance situation with the Spanish to win the campaign?
More strategies than they're given credit for. And this is all discussed in all the history books. If you get into them, and you look at them closely, and they say, why did the Spanish do this? Why didn't they do that? One of these things is, why didn't they just hang out off the Atlantic coast of the United States and raid here and there? Or if you aren't going to do that, then go down and attack one of these little blockade squadrons. They're small, they're not very well armed, and your good cruisers can go down there and really do a number on them.
So you'll have some of those strategic options available, it sounds like.
Strategic options, you could probably find some other option.
Right. And then I know you've added more historical events, which sounds interesting. So that sounds good. John actually lives in the Philippines, so he's particularly looking forward to seeing this game in print next year, which it will be in print next year, by the way. Everybody, you can see all the artworks wrapping up. Although we do need to do a final call for play testers, which we're going to do here in a moment. And then, of course, yeah, this is not your typical Eastern Front game. Again, Vance is so well known for his East Front games, but he's also very well known for his North Africa games.
Yeah, and
The whole series of games on North Africa, Vance has done so much for the hobby. Plus Avalon Hill Creek, just crazy how much. So I got to ask you this: how did you get started in the hobby? How did you actually get introduced to
my
war
first
games in
was
general?
Africa Corps, and then I pulled out a history book and decided, things have to be fixed.
There you go. And then, yeah, there's another title. John says, thanks so much for Baton. I know we get a few requests now and then to see Baton back in print, but yeah, it's something we haven't pulled the plug on. And then Operation Mercury is another one being redone. That's another. Actually, this is a good segue. Maybe we can talk about a little bit about some of the future projects for Compass Games that you're going to be considering.
Special Creek game, definitely will. And the mechanics will be a little different from what I've done before.
Right. So just in case, sorry, the audio broke up a little bit. So everybody, so one of the things Vance just mentioned is he's going to be working on a Crete game design, a little bit different mechanics than he's done before, but covering Crete. So that will be coming. And then could you share with others? I know Bill wanted me to mention if you can share about the Tunisia campaign and especially Italy, some of the other ideas you have for future projects for Compass.
Well, the Tunisia game is largely built already. I do have to clean it up some, but it's the whole campaign. It's 6 months worth of campaigning in Tunisia. It shows the American Army at that time. And there is a mechanic in there for leadership change and another mechanic for a technology change, both of which happened during that campaign.
Wow, that's great. That's
right.
great.
And then we carry that probably over to Sicily. And after Sicily, it will carry it up into Italy. So
Italy's going to be amazing because Italy seems to be such a tough designer challenge to do a good game on Italy, the Italian campaign. So, but if anybody's up to the challenge, I'd take your pedigree for that for sure. So I'm excited about Italy. I'm excited about all the games you just mentioned. Tunisia campaign.
One continuous scale using units from one game over to the next game.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds great. That sounds incredible. So, and then Vince says he loves your Road series, by the way, Moscow, Leningrad, short list of favorite games. So,
thank you.
Again, across the board, I don't know, take your pick of Vance Von Voorhees games. There's so many different titles, and I know I'm not thinking of all of them because there's a bunch on probably under Board Game Geek for all the credits you've done. But we're excited about, we're excited about Remember the Main. And again, this is really important for everybody to know because, again, you did add more historical events to the game. We have a Vassal kit that's ready to go. We're definitely looking for play testers for Remember the Main, as long as you're willing to do it on Vassal. And we'll have those events in there because I think you mentioned, Vance, to me you'd really like to see play testing of the campaign game with how the historical events can impact play.
It's a little bit longer, but it needs it. We need to test out those special campaign events.
Yep. The campaign events, especially. So again, just like I said earlier, when Mo was on, he was looking for play testers for Man of War. Again, just for Remember the Main, just to wrap this project up. We've had 1 or 2 volunteers already, but we're looking for more. Just email me at john@compassgames.com so we can get you set up. We'll get you started with Vassal and the play test that we'll do. We can get that rolling next week for sure. So just email me at john@compassgames.com and we'll be happy to get the play test rolling. And then how long is the rule booklet for Remember the Main? I don't think, well, the rules, they're in a draft version right now, but they're not too lengthy, I don't think.
Yeah, I got to turn my head around to check on that. Looks like 40 pages.
Yeah, 40 pages with illustrations and all that. So
all the illustrations, all the campaign events, sequence of play, designer notes, bibliography, other special notes on design decisions. Really, there's a lot in there. You're going to get your money's worth.
Yeah, and then the game is on pre-order. So if you go do a search on pre-orders, pay later, or just use the search bar, you can just type Remember. Probably just type the word Remember, and it will bring up Remember the Main. So go ahead and actually, let me double check. Let me make sure. You know what? Now my mind, I'm playing tricks on my mind because we've had so many game releases. Now I'm thinking maybe I need to check. Okay, so it is not on pre-order yet. That's what I thought. I was just thinking a second time. So we need to get that pre-order going. I thought we had it on pre-order already. So I will double check that. So great question. I will do a search because I believe this is perhaps in the catalog as well. Yeah, it's not in there. Okay, so I'll make sure we get this pre-order going for Remember the Main, especially now, Van, since we talked about the game cards that we're going to be adding to the game. So no time like the present to get the pre-order up. So it will be a pay later pre-order to start, just to let everybody know. So that's the way we're going to start it, is through a pay later only. But we'll definitely absolutely get the pre-order going for the game. So really excited again, Vance, to have you on so we could talk about this game. It's going to be a great game. All the graphics and work that's been done. Just need a little more play testing to get done, and we should be all set. And then we can get moving forward with the other games. This game is solo friendly, by the way. I think Matthew was asking. There's not a lot in terms of hidden. There's no hidden forces or limited intelligence per se.
You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, you can pretty much just play it straight up. You can play both sides, even doing the battle resolution on the battle board. It's pretty straightforward. So absolutely. Once the pre-order gets up, I misspoke earlier, but once we get the pre-order up, I think I had previewed some of the artwork in a previous episode, and that's what got me confused, thinking it was on pre-order already. But yeah, we'll definitely get that pre-order going. Absolutely.
Let me get this in here. Great appreciation to Bruce for all his good artwork in here. It's
absolutely. Bruce has done a great job. I know you've got a bunch of play testers you've worked with already, and we're just looking for some outside play testers to kick the tires one final time, and then we'll be getting ready to put the game into production, getting the pre-order page up, get it out there. So yeah, we're really excited about the game. We're excited about the future. And by the way, congrats on the great projects. Forgotten Legions, Decision at Kasserine, again, did really well. People really enjoying those games. So Remember the Main will be next. And then, as you mentioned, we'll be getting into those Tunisia campaign, Crete, then Italian campaign, things linking up. So we're really excited about all of that. So hat tip to you, Vance, for all you're doing. Thanks for being on with us for a few minutes. I think everybody had a chance to ask some good questions, and they love by the way, your studio, your little library. Somebody else was commenting they wish they can pick your bookshelf right now and go through. Is that mostly historical books you got there?
Sorry?
Is that mostly historical books you've got on your bookshelves, or is that a
collection?
Yeah. That's a huge. It looks like you got a huge library behind you, and some nice sized gaming tables.
Gaming table.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Vance, for being on. It was a pleasure to have you. And we'll plan to have you on again, obviously, when we get closer to shipping the game. So sometime next year, hope to have you on again for sure. We'll talk some more about Remember the Main and talk about some of the future projects you'll be working on, which I think will be Tunisia Campaign will probably be next, I think.
All right.
Well, thanks so much, Vance, for being on with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed having Vance Von Boris on tonight. I hope the sound quality, I realized the sound was ducking in and out, but I think for the most part, we were able to cover Remember the Main pretty well, do the call for play testers. And as mentioned, after Remember the Main gets wrapped up, we're going to be shifting focus to Tunisia Campaign. So Tunisia Campaign is a game Vance approached me about over 10 years ago, was an Air Force project where it was really focused on the air game. So this is sort of a revamped, refocused version Tunisia Campaign, but the air game's taken down a notch because, again, the focus was so big originally on the air game. But I believe Vance mentioned, I should have asked him while I had him on, but Vance mentioned you can still have the optional air game. It would just be an option, I think, on the back end because that exists already, but just to keep the game playable and keep the balance focus more on the ground game as well. So there's going to be that option to Tunisia Campaign, and then of course linking it to these other games like Crete, Corsica, etc., and then getting into the Italian front as well. So we've got a full dance card for Vance, other than the other designs, of course, he's working on with other publishers already as well. So again, just to be clear, the Remember the Main, the pre-order is not yet up yet. I had done a sneak peek in a previous episode of Compass Games Live just to give you a project update, but we're not at the point yet where we've launched the pre-order page. But I think when things calm down a little bit, obviously it'll be very easy to do that. Our focus right now to help Vance out for this game is we need to get at least 2 to 3 to 4 more play testers, volunteers, so we can really check the historical events that he's added through the additional research he's come upon for the game. So we definitely want to be able to do that. So with that being said, again, I want to thank everybody for being here. Again, I will check. I don't know what the schedule will be because I will be out next Thursday night. So I am definitely open to doing Friday night next week. If Bill's willing to do a Friday night town hall session next week, I'm happy to do it Friday night. Or if Bill would like to go with a guest host to moderate, which really isn't needed when Bill and Billy are on anyway. We could always get Mo perhaps to step in. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed again, we're getting close to Compass Expo. If you're in the area, please consider dropping by, even if it's just for one day. It's worth it for just one day, just for the Compass Game Store, just to get your 50% off all the merchandise and to meet 120, 130 people all in one day. If you're just going to swing by on the weekend, it's still worth the trip out for a few hours if you're on the East Coast. Otherwise, if you're like myself or like Mo or like about 10, 12 designers, we're all going to be there doing designer seminars will be done. And of course, all the special events and tournaments and play tests, etc. As you can see from the sign-up sheet, lots of activities taking place. So we're really looking forward to the convention. And again, we'll be getting the next games will be coming out shortly. If you go to our homepage, you'll see what the next release is following American Tank Ace. So I believe it's Schnell Boats should be coming out as our next release. Schnell Boats, and then Maori. Maori will be the one following that as well. I'm not sure about the exact timing of that. That's why I want to have Bill Thomas on for the town hall session. That's why I want to work out the date for next week to see what day we're going to do it. But again, please join us. Have a great weekend coming up. I'm sure we'll find a good date we can hopefully do for next week so we can be back again in about a week's time. And I want to wish everybody well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, a special thank you to Vance von Voorhis for all your contributions to the hobby through the many years. And we're excited about Remember the Main and some future projects that we have in store as well. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.